Sometimes the people you die for are the same ones who ask you to leave. This is the story of a mother who gave everything she had to her son, only to hear the 4 words that shattered her heart. Pack your bags. My name is Eleanor Bennett. I'm 66 years old, and for as long as I can remember, my world revolved around one person, my son, Michael. After my husband, Tom, passed away when Michael was just 12, I threw myself into raising him alone. We lived in a small house on the edge of a quiet town in Oregon, the kind of place where everyone knows everyone, and the sunsets always smelled like pine and rain. Michael was a bright boy, thoughtful, kind. He used to leave little notes for me on the kitchen table before school, things like, "Love you, Mom," or "Don't forget your coffee." He used to say I was his best friend. When he graduated from college, he bought me a silver bracelet with the words, "For Mom, my first hero." I wore it every day, and still do, because that bracelet reminded me I did something right. Or at least I thought I did. Years later, Michael got married. Her name was Olivia. She was beautiful, confident, and smart. Everything a mother would want for her son. When they invited me to live with them after their wedding, I was touched. I imagined it would be a home filled with laughter, coffee mornings, and Sunday dinners. But life doesn't always go the way you picture it. At first, Olivia was polite. She called me Mom, helped me unpack, even baked cookies with me once. But slowly, things began to change. She started making little comments. "Eleanor, maybe you shouldn't rearrange the kitchen." Or, "Eleanor, Michael and I have our own routines, you know." Small things, but enough to make me feel like a guest in my own home. Michael worked long hours, so I often sat alone watching TV or folding laundry, things that made me feel useful. But soon, even that was too much. One evening, Olivia came home looking frustrated. She said, "Eleanor, please don't do Michael's laundry. I like to handle it myself." Her tone wasn't angry, but it wasn't kind either. So I nodded. I stopped helping, and the house got quieter. Michael didn't notice, or maybe he did, and chose to ignore it. Weeks later, she started taking their dinners to the upstairs bedroom. I'd sit downstairs, eating alone, telling myself they were busy. One Saturday morning, I made pancakes, Michael's favorite since he was little. He didn't come to the table. Olivia smiled faintly and said, "Oh, he's eating in bed today. I already made him breakfast." I felt something in me sink, something that had been breaking slowly for months. That afternoon, I went for a walk around the block. The sky was gray, the air cold, and for the first time in my life, I felt like I had nowhere to belong. That night, I overheard them talking in their room. Olivia's voice was low but sharp. Michael, I can't live like this. It's not normal for your mom to live with us forever. There was silence, then Michael's voice, tired, quiet. I'll talk to her. I stood in the hallway, frozen. It felt like my heart had been dropped into ice water. The next morning, he came into my room. He sat on the edge of my bed and said softly, "Mom, Olivia and I think maybe it would be good for you to take a little break. Go stay with Aunt Rose for a while, just for some space." I smiled, pretended it didn't hurt. "Of course, honey, if that makes you both comfortable." He hugged me, and for a second, I felt like my little boy again. But as soon as he left, I heard Olivia's voice from the hallway. Calm, cold, final. "Eleanor, pack your bags."
4 words. That's all it took to end 30 years of motherhood as I knew it. I moved in with my sister, Rose, in a small house 2 towns over. She was kind, made me tea every morning, kept me company, but nothing filled the emptiness. Michael called a few times at first, short, polite conversations. Then, nothing. Weeks turned into months. I tried not to check my phone too often, but I did. Every day, every night. One evening in early November, Rose came into the living room holding a white envelope. "Ellie," she said softly, "you got some mail." It was from Michael. My hands trembled as I opened it. His handwriting was messy, rushed. "Mom, I don't even know where to start. Olivia left. I tried to make it work, but it's over. I know I failed you too. I should have protected you. I should have stood by you. You gave me everything, and I gave you distance. I'm sorry, Mom. Please come home. Love, Michael." I read those words again and again until they blurred into tears. That night, I didn't cry out of pain. I cried out of relief. Because no matter what happened, my son's heart was still alive somewhere under all that confusion and pride.
A week later, I packed my small suitcase, the same one I'd left with, and went back. When I stepped into the house, everything felt different, quieter, sadder. Michael stood by the door, eyes red, voice trembling. He said, "Mom, I don't deserve you." I put my hand on his cheek and whispered, "You're my son. You'll always deserve my love." He broke down, hugging me so tightly I could feel the guilt shaking through him. The next few months were about healing. We cooked together again, talked late into the night, and sometimes just sat quietly, letting silence do the talking. Then, one spring afternoon, there was a knock at the door. It was Olivia. Her eyes were swollen, her hair messy. She looked nothing like the proud woman I remembered. She said softly, "Mrs. Bennett, may I come in?" We sat at the kitchen table, the same one where we'd once shared cookies and laughter. She took a deep breath. "I was wrong. I thought you were trying to control things. I didn't see what you meant to Michael, to both of us. I'm so sorry." I looked at her, this young woman who had broken my heart, and all I felt was peace. Because holding on to anger would only mean me losing twice. So I reached across the table, held her hand, and said, "Your family, Olivia. Come home." Tears rolled down her cheeks. Now, years later, I sit on that same porch, watching my grandchildren chase fireflies in the yard. Sometimes, when Michael brings me my coffee and Olivia laughs from the kitchen, I think back to that day she said, "Pack your bags." And I realize, if I had left with anger, I would have lost them forever. But because I left with love, I found something even greater when I came back: forgiveness. In the end, family isn't about who's right or wrong. It's about who's willing to forgive, to come home, and to love again. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories that speak to the soul.